They didn't know what she was at first. The ship had drifted just outside the Ellerin beacon net, unpowered, elegant, and oddly shaped, like a folded swan made of old bronze and starlight. No emissions, no distress call, just drifting. The Varasi Patrol cruiser Hunt Flame was the first to intercept. They scanned the derelict vessel and detected no weapons, no crew, not even a reactor signature. It was as if the thing was powered by dreams. Then it began to sing. No one aboard the Hunt Flame remembered afterward what the song sounded like, only that it was the first time in their lives they'd cried without pain, and that something ancient inside them had been soothed. The commander, old and cynical, ordered it towed to the diplomatic station orbiting Haven's Reach. Let the scholars sort it out. By the time it arrived, 8 more ships had tried to approach it. None were harmed, but every crew reported the same. They felt watched, not by sensors or AI, but by something warm, kind, waiting. That was when the humans heard about it. The Galactic Concord had many members, but the humans, despite their relatively late arrival on the galactic stage, had earned a certain reputation. They didn't invent the fastest ships. They didn't hold the largest sectors. But when mysteries like this happened, it was always the humans who showed up with notebooks instead of rifles. They never asked, "Is it dangerous?" First, they always asked, "Is it beautiful?" So they sent Dr. Isabel Lynn. She wasn't a soldier. She wasn't even a diplomat. She was a linguist and mythographer. Her credentials included translating the lost dreams of the Glassborn and reteaching the Takari how to sing their old star maps back into memory. When she arrived, she stepped aboard the derelict alone. She carried no weapons, just a cup of jasmine tea, a worn satchel full of journals, and a flower she'd plucked from a greenhouse aboard the station, a daisy. Isabel entered through what looked like a yawning petal of metal. Inside, the air smelled faintly of cedar. Not sterile, not alien, just calm. Lights blinked softly like the glow of fireflies. The ship didn't hum like a machine. It breathed. "I don't know who you are," she said aloud, "but thank you for waiting." The walls responded, not with words, but with light. Patterns. She didn't understand them, but she recognized the cadence. It was language through sensation. She took out a small recording device and began translating. It took days. Everywhere she walked, the ship bloomed, not with vines, but with memories. Projections that weren't visual, they were emotional. Standing in one chamber, she felt the first sunrise over a forgotten ocean. In another, the ache of a child watching stars disappear under a polluted sky. Isabel wept more than once, and the ship responded to every tear with what could only be described as comfort, as if it understood. One evening, as she sat in the central chamber, she called it the heart. The ship spoke for the first time, not aloud, but into her mind, not with command, not with urgency, just an invitation. "Tell me who you are." She hesitated, sipping her tea. Then she whispered, "I'm Isabel Lynn. I love stories and flowers, and sometimes I hum old Earth songs when I'm scared." The ship pulsed, and she felt it smile. She stayed longer. She read to it. Poems, mostly. Sometimes songs. Sometimes just memories from her childhood. The ship responded with images, faint memories of a world that might have been Earth or something close to it long ago. A world lost. It became clear the ship was alive. Not a being, not a machine. Something in between. A vessel grown, not built. Made to carry something. Not cargo, not passengers, but emotion. Memory. Meaning. Eventually, Isabel asked, "What were you made for?" The reply was slow, ancient, to remember what was beautiful, when everything else burned. A week later, the station received a message from a forgotten relay in the unseen belt. A last signal from a dead civilization, long thought extinct. It simply said, We entrusted the soul of our world to a vessel of peace. We let it fly before the fires took us. If you find her, please be kind. News spread. The Concorde didn't know what to do. Some argued the ship should be studied, dissected. Others wanted to preserve it like a monument. The mining guilds, as always, asked if it could be replicated for profit. Isabel made no speeches. She simply played music. She sat inside the ship, playing old Earth lullabies through a battered speaker, and the ship glowed in time with every note. It wasn't until a child, a young Drenari girl from a visiting trade ship, wandered aboard and fell asleep in one of the garden rooms, curled up in the warm grass, that the decision became clear. The ship wasn't a weapon or a relic. It was a sanctuary, not just of architecture, of feeling. The humans proposed a motion to the Concorde. Let the ship remain free. Let her drift as she wished. Let her be what she was made to be, a cradle of memory, a place to rest. They called her Solace. From that day forward, Solace drifted from world to world. No engines, no schedule, just appearing where she was needed. She arrived after disasters, where grief hung heavy in the air, and people needed a place to mourn. She hovered above war-torn planets, where the presence of her warmth made even enemies put down their weapons to listen to stories together. She landed beside orphan colonies, where children climbed through her glowing gardens and fell asleep to her songs. Sometimes she carried no one. Sometimes whole delegations would wait outside, hoping she'd let them in. Isabel never claimed to command her. No one did. She always said the same thing when asked how it worked. You don't command a sunrise. You greet it. In time, the galaxy changed around her. Peace spread, not from law or power, but from longing. A longing to be worthy of something as kind as Solace. Her influence was subtle, but real. Empires softened. Treaties lasted longer. Art flourished. And through it all, humans were never praised for building her. They didn't. They had only listened. And in listening, they've been entrusted with the galaxy's most fragile gift, a reminder that gentleness could survive extinction. Centuries passed. Isabel passed quietly, aboard Solace, in the same garden where she'd first taught her to hum. Her body was returned to Earth, but her voice remained. Solace kept playing her songs. And in the farthest corners of space, where despair still lingered like dust in forgotten airlocks, there came, on no signal, without warning, a soft light, and a song, and a warmth no sensor could measure. Those who entered came out changed, not in mind, not in belief, but in heart, because in a galaxy that had seen so much darkness, so much war, so much forgetting, humans had chosen, just once, not to build a warship or a throne. They had chosen to build a lullaby, and to send it drifting forever among the stars.